dimensionals, but if you're using ordinary paper, okay. Let's try again, shall we? Let's see. Dimensionals, but if you're using ordinary, okay, let's see. Right. Here we are. We're back again. Yes. Okay. Are we rolling? Okay. Have we got sound? Yeah. Right. Sorry guys, my phone just decided to do an update. Wasn't that helpful of it? So sorry we all got kicked out. Right, I shall take a moment to tidy up while we wait for everybody to come back again. Leave me a comment when you come back so I know you've made it. Hi Anne, hi Amy. Right, so as I was saying, which do you prefer, the copper or the champagne? Personally, I think I like the copper better. It's just a bit more striking, isn't it? But I like the champagne too, so hey ho. I wonder who's going to get one of these soon. Hi Sue, welcome back. Sorry about that. My phone decided to do an update on me, so it just kicked me out of live, which was really, really helpful. Copper, Amy, both. Oh no, now I don't know which one to give you for your birthday. Copper, Sue. Yep, I think copper's my favourite. Perhaps I think if this one would work a little bit better on a darker background, maybe. Right, so let's just clear myself some space because the next two cards are going to be doing some colouring with them. So first one is just saw your smileys, Amy. All right, so the next card is this one. What do you think of this? So this is using the what's it called? The crafting. Hi, Doreen. Glad you could make it. I don't know, were you kicked out like we all were a few minutes ago? If so, sorry about that and welcome back. But it's good to have you with us. Right, so the next set we're using is this Crafting Forever, which I used a few weeks ago. You'll remember we used these pens, but I'm using this one here. And I've had this idea rumbling around in my mind for a little while since I saw the set. So we're going to do a bit of watercolouring this evening to get this particular effect. So for this one, I've used Tempting Turquoise base on this one. But I'm going to change it up and use Lemon Lime Twist instead. Okay. There we go. And then we've got a basic black matte. So I'm just going to put those to one side for the moment. I'm going to bring in my scrap paper. And for this one, I'm going to use watercolour paper because we're going to be putting quite a bit of water down on this. So our regular cardstock just won't do it really. You've got to have the watercolour paper because it will take all of the water. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our pot, which is this one here. Okay, and we need a big block for that. Let's try this one. Nope. Oh, big block's gone. This one. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this using our basic black archival ink because you can watercolor over this. And I'm putting this down first because I want this to give me my guide to where I want my watercoloring to go. Okay. So there we go. That's, no, don't like that. Let's do the other side. I need a bit more ink on there. I want it more vibrant. Okay, so I'll stamp that down. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now this is how we watercolor with our ink pads. Some of you will know this already. You'll have seen me do it. But I love doing this. So I'm going to use quite a few colours for this one. So we've got Berry Burst, and all I'm doing is before I open my ink pad, I'm just squeezing the lid together. Can you see that? And what that does is it gives me a little reservoir of ink in here which I can use for colouring. So we've got Berry Burst, we've got Tempting Turquoise, there we go, we've got Lemon Lime Twist, move my tea out of the way, Lemon Lime Twist, and we've got some Tangerine Tango. There we go, okay. We're also going to use some Cajun Craze for the pot itself, and some crushed curry for the brushes. That's the word I'm looking for. But before we do that, I just want to take my blender pen here, and I'm just going to add a little bit more black to my brushes. Okay, again using the archival ink, because then it won't run when I put water on here. There you go. Okay. There we are. Right, so let's move this one out of the way, and we'll bring in, I'm going to bring in my aqua painter here. So, what we want to do is we want to wet the paper first, because what I want is that when I put the ink on, it will just run, okay? So what I'm going to do is, you can see the aqua painter here, it's got its own water reservoir inside, so you just squeeze it and the water comes out through the brush. Can you see that? So I'm just going to lay some water down just on this side, and I'm going to, you'll see in a minute how I'm going to lay it like a line almost, a wiggly line. And then I'm going to take my Berry Burst, squeeze a bit of water in here. Can you see that? Okay, and then watch what happens. I'm not going to brush the water, I'm just going to place the ink into the water, and can you see that it just spreads by itself? And that's what I want it to do. I want it to follow where there's water. Okay, and I'm not being particularly careful about where I put this to begin with. Okay, now the thing to have to hand when you're doing this is a cloth or some kitchen towel, because the way you clean your aqua painter off between colours is you just squeeze it and wipe it until it comes up clear. Can you see that? Okay, so next up we're going to use our lemon lime twist. So again, I'm just going to place some water down on the card. Oh, and can you see? I've touched the pink, so it's spread, it's pulled it, but that's no big deal because I can pick it up if I want. Okay, and in fact, I'm just going to take my, this is the beauty or the curse of watercolouring, that you're never quite sure exactly what you're going to get. Okay, so I've dried that off, and then I'm just going to clean my painter off a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to take our lemon lime twist and just lay it down. If you want more water, you just squeeze the brush gently, and it'll bring some more water out for you. So there we go. Okay, and I want to add a bit of water to the end, and you'll see why in a minute. Okay, I'm going to add a bit of water to the end here, like that, and I'm actually going to add a bit more colour over here as well. I want a bit more. There we go. That's better. That's it. And then what I'm going to do, see, is I'm going to just make it run off the edge like that, so I get my, there we go, help it. Okay, so I get it looking like it's spilled and we've got paint running everywhere. Okay, so I want a bit of turquoise next. So again, quite a bit of colour down, quite a bit of water. And you can see I am not being the slightest bit careful with this. I'm letting the colours blend into one another. Each one will turn out different. So we're going to clean our brush off, and then our last colour is Tangerine Tango. And for this one, remember to put some water down first. There we go. Okay. And then bring in our Tango. Can you see how when I put it into the water pulls it without me having to do very much at all? There we go. And then we can let them mix and blend. Add a little bit more, I want a bit more blue. And you can see I'm putting quite a bit of water down here because I want quite a strong, I want the colours to be, I want it to run, and I want to be able, but can you see that the card is bending? And that's why you use your watercolor paper rather than regular card. Now I can see on the end here, I don't quite like how it's doing that, so I'm going to let it run off the page into my cloth. And can you see that the cloth just pulls the color away from the card, so you can get rid of any of those where it's pooling. Okay, and now I want to add a bit more orange on this side. There we go. That's it. Okay, so that I think will do. I could go on for hours and hours and hours with this one, but I'm not. Okay, so now I'm going to do my pot. So I've cleaned my brush, made sure there's no colour left on it, and for this one I'm going to use Cajun Craze. So I'll do exactly the same. Okay, and again lay some water down on my pot. Can you see that? Am I up far enough? Hang on, there we go. And then I'm not being especially careful with this. I'm just going to get a little bit of colour down, and like that, just make sure we've got some light areas and some dark areas. A little bit in there. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to do our brushes. So again, I'm just going to do these in yellow. Now you could spend hours coloring each brush differently and giving it lots of detail, but for the purposes of the video tonight, I am not going to subject you to that. This is really just to give you the idea. Now I'm using my aqua painter, and I like doing that because it means that my water is in my brush, but you can do this with a regular paintbrush if you've got one. Okay, there we go. So then what I want to do, you can see that this is almost dry here. Okay, but let me close up some of these ink pads. But now what I want to do is some of my ink splatters. Okay, so let's get my bone folder, and I'm going to start with Berry Burst. So we're going to pick up quite a watery mix. Okay, and then just over my bone folder, I'm just going to smack it. Can you see that? So I get a nice splat. And then I'm going to change colours. Again, making sure that my colours here. And then I'm going to do some lemon lime twist. And again, just splat. There we go. So this is really a very messy day at the art table, this one. And then we're going to do some blue. See? There we are. Lovely. Okay. So we're going to leave that to dry for a second while I clean off my brush. So you can see all I do is I just squeeze it and rub it until what comes out is clear. Then I know it's clean and ready to be used again. Alright, so while that's drying, can you see how it's buckling a little bit? Alright, let me just put away some of these ink pads because we don't need these anymore. Okay. There we go. Put that aside. And then we'll just do our layer here. So it's just simply glue on the back of the black piece. Now, what I will say is that your card, as I said, your card will... Hi Lynn, good to see you. Sorry I missed you on Monday. Right, so there we go. So I'm just going to place my black layer down in preparation. As I was saying, your cardstock will bend and buckle because we've put lots of water on it. So you can, if you have a heat tool, you can run the heat tool over it to try and straighten it out. But what I normally do when I make a card like this is that once it's made, then I actually put it inside a heavy book or underneath something heavy just to flatten it out a little bit more. Now, this is a little... Oh, hi Sandy. Good to have you here. Don't think I've had you on before, have I? Right. Okay, so as I say, normally I'd leave this to dry, but because I'm doing a video and we don't want to literally watch paint dry, I'm just going to dab it with my kitchen towel to take some of the colour away. Now you can see that it's become less vibrant. So if you were doing your watercolouring and you wanted to take some of the colour away, then this is a really great way to do it, to just lift some of it off. If you did that and then you decided, no, I want more colour, then you can just go in and wet it again and go over it again and again and again. That's the beauty of the watercolour paper. So anyway, now we're going to stamp our greet, our saying, which is, I've done do something creative every day, but I'm going to do the crafting forever, housework whenever. Where is it? Sentiment, which I think we all agree as crafters, we'd really like it if that was how life was. Wouldn't it be great? If Jules is on tonight, maybe we are still thinking about that, getting a cleaner in that we could all share so we could get on and just craft. Right, so I'm just going to stamp that in here like so. There we go. Okay. And you can see that if you used a normal water-based ink and you stamped into this paper while it was still a little bit damp, this would feather. But because we're using our archival ink, you get a nice clear image. So that's why you need to use this when you're using watercolours, otherwise it will just bleed. Now, as you know, normally I use glue to stick my pieces down, but because this is a little bit wet and a little bit warped, I'm going to use something a little bit firmer, which is my double-sided tape. I'm going to put quite a few strips of this on here. There we go, and last one. Okay, get that out of the way. So again, just press it down a little bit. This one will have to go inside a book or under something heavy until it's ready to be sent to somebody. Okay, let's pull our strip off. There we go. Oop. Right, and it's a bit trickier get it straight with your double-sided tape, which is why I use glue. But there we go. Give it a good press down, and again, turn it over. There we go. And there we have it. Ah, one more thing. One more thing I'm going to add, and that's some Wink of Stella. So I'm going to just splatter this. Get some ink into the barrel. Now, you probably can't see that on the camera, I don't think. Craft 23 hours a day, sleep 1 hour, no time for housework. Tempting. Do you know what we should do? We should arrange for us all to go and craft somewhere one weekend. We'll have a craft retreat and we'll just craft our little behinds off for the whole weekend. Wouldn't that be amazing? Right, so there we have it. Which one do you prefer? I like the colour of this one, but I think I prefer how the watercolouring turned out on this one. What do you reckon? Let me bring it up a bit closer so you can see. There we go. But again, great cards to send to a crafty friend. You never know. I might use these as my thank you cards for this month for anyone who's placing their orders. You never know. You might get one of those through your door. Right, so that was card number 3. I'm going to clear away some of these ink pads. How many have I got? 7 ink pads on one card. My goodness, that is a lot. You know, I don't normally do that, but I do enjoy watercolouring. And like I say, our stamps make it very easy to get effects, get good effects. Doreen, you agree? What, on a crafty weekend away somewhere? It's an idea. Right, here we go. So this is the next one. So this is using, again, this is a Christmas stamp set. Second one with the green background lid. Yeah, I think I prefer that one too. So yes, this is a Christmas stamp set, but actually I think this could work very, very well. There's a lot of this in here that's not specific to Christmas at all. In fact, apart from Merry Christmas and I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas and the Holly, everything else you can use any other time of year. So I think it's a really great set. Yeah, maybe we'll do something over the summer. What do you think? We'll try and organise something down south. Right, so let's see. We're going to start with a crumb cake card base. I'm going to fold that in half as usual. Okay, and then we have a strip of Very Vanilla and a strip of Cherry Cobbler. Okay, there we go. And for my card here, I stamped onto Very Vanilla cardstock, but I didn't really like how my bottle turned out. So I'm going to try a little something different, which is, this is our glossy white cardstock. So I'm going to have a go and see how that one works out. Okay, so we'll come back to that. But the first thing to do is to bring in our stamp set, is to take the large glass image from this set. We need our scrap paper again. Okay, and we're going to just stamp that along the bottom in crumb cake. I like tone on tone, which is good. So again, just randomly along the bottom. If you wanted to, you could colour these in if you wanted, but I'm just going to leave them plain for the minute, mainly because I just can't be bothered, to be perfectly honest. There we go. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to keep the crumb cake out, and then we're going to get this image here, which is the row of glasses. Okay, and we're just going to stamp those along the bottom. Okay, so let's just, as we go. And there. Okay, that's a lot of wine. Think you could manage that one, ladies? Could you manage all those glasses? Okay. And then I'm going to stamp our sentiment. I used the best wines are the ones we drink with friends. But this one I'm going to put, may your glass always be half full. So that's this one. Let's get ourselves a block. And again, on this one, I stamped it in crumb cake, but I think I'm going to stamp it in, I'm going to try it in green actually. I want to add a little bit more colour to this one. There we go. All right. And then let's take that's our stamping on there. Let's take our glossy cardstock, and I'm going to stamp in grey on here. So we're going to take our bottle. Right, now I'm not sure how this is going to work, so fingers crossed it will be okay. Alright, so stamp that down. And what we're going to do is, we've just spent the last card colouring using our pads to watercolour. And we also have markers, which you could use to colour these in. But I know for a lot of people to invest in all of our markers is quite a lot. It's a big investment to make. So this is a much less expensive way to be able to colour like you're using our markers without our markers. And that's to get yourself one of our blender pens. So basically what these do is they allow you to pick up the ink from your ink pad and colour with it as if it was a marker. And I think you get 2 or 3 in a pack for, let me see, let me just check. I've got the catalogue here. So you get 2 blender pens for 3 blender pens for £10.75. Amy, I am going to fussy cut again. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been watercolouring a card that took me more than 2 seconds. Now I'm going to fussy cut. I don't know what's come over me. Anyway, so to colour to colour with your blender pen, all you need is your ink pad. And again, just like when we were watercolouring, you just squeeze the lid together, open it up, and you get your reservoir. Okay? So then all you do is you take either end, and first of all, make sure that it's clean. Now, my tip is stained, but I can see when I colour with it that no colour's coming off, so that's safe to go. So I'm going to use so all I do is I just take my, I don't know, am I actually becoming a proper crafter? I don't know. Right, so here we go, and all I'm doing is just colouring in. I'm not worrying too much about shading. Now I'm saying this like I'm an expert and I know what's going to happen, but I don't know, so we'll just have to see how it turns out. Let's see, because I've not used, this is new and I've not used it before, so I don't even know if our inks will dry on here or not. So start with that, and so you can see I've got cherry cobbler on here, so I'm just scribbling onto my piece of paper until it runs clear. Now, before I go colouring the whole thing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a bit of tissue and I'm just going to dab it to see if the ink has dried. Yeah, so a little bit's come off, but yet the ink is holding, so that's good. That means I can carry on. Okay, so next I'm going to take my crumb cake and I'm going to use that to just colour the label lightly. Here we go. You don't have much time to blend, so just be aware of that if you like. How's that? Can you hear me now? Let's see. Sound is back. Woohoo! Excellent. Thanks, Doreen. Thanks, Amy. See, just as I thought I had mastered the technology, it rises up to bite me on the backside. Anyway, yeah, so let's have a look. Oh, yeah, and look, that gives me, I've got a bit of a shine. So that'll look like a proper glass bottle. That worked out well. Happy with that. Right, I'm going to leave that to one side for a second, and I'm going to colour in our glasses. So again, and I'm not being especially careful with this, as you can see. You can be as precise or not as you wish. The idea here is really just to give the impression. So you can see that there's wine in there. Thank you for bearing with me, ladies, especially having cancelled on Monday and dropped out on you, what is it, 3 times now tonight? Dear, oh dear. Like I say, just as I thought I had the hang of it. Here we go. There we are, done. An ink called Burgundy. Yeah, and I mean, this cherry cobbler is quite close. It's really, really deep. And actually, if you mixed it with our Cajun Craze, you'd get a more of a brown burgundy. But I love this colour. It's just, as I say, it's really, really deep and rich, proper burgundy. Right, so let's get our pieces. Oh, now for the cutting. Here we go. Let's get my scissors. Thinking of wine. Yeah, I'm not surprised you're thinking of wine. It's been a hard few days at work and I'm making a card with wine on it. I mean, what else would you be thinking about? I mean, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink at all, but even I'm thinking of wine. Right, here we go. So yeah, it's fussy cutting, but really, it's not that difficult. Okay? All right, so now what we want is, on the back of our bottle, we want 2 big dimensionals, and then we want a mini dimensional behind the neck, like so. All right, so now we have our bits. So let's bring in our pieces. Get rid of that. So we're going to stick our stamped panel to our cherry cobbler panel. There we go, and then we're just going to glue that one down. I'm going to put it up near the top so you can see the wine glasses that I've stamped underneath. Okay, and then we'll pop our bottle on like so. All right, and then almost done, just one final touch. I'm going to add a little sparkle to our glasses. With the wink of Stella. Here we go. So there we have it. Can you see the sparkliness. I'm really pleased with how that wine bottle turned out, actually, because you've got the shine on it. It looks like it could be glass. I think I might have to have a little bit more of a play with our glossy cardstock. Especially as our inks stick to it. I thought they might just slide off. So there we go. There's our two. Yeah, I'm pleased with this one. I think the second one looks better. Right, so that is the 4 cards for tonight. So let's just bring them back in. Got this one. We've got our. Now let's make sure that you can see all of those 4. Can you see them all? Oh, glad you like them, Doreen and Anne. Glad you like them. Right, so there we are. For those of you who missed the beginning, you can go back and watch it again because it's up there now. But here are the cards that we've made this evening. Let me know what your favourite is. And please remember, I'd love it if you shared this video. This week, actually, on my Facebook page, I reached 150 likes, which I was really, really chuffed about. I know it's not many, but, you know, it's a start, and when I started I had none, and that wasn't that long ago. So thank you ladies for supporting me and joining me and being here with me and bearing with me while I do my bits. As I say, it's always a pleasure to have you with me, and I will see you next Monday. Usual time, usual service will be restored. In the meantime, if you have any questions excuse me, if you have any questions, just drop me a line, either email me or send me a message. Oh, it's time to stop because I've got a frog in my throat. My tea. And always, if you want to place an order, then I'd love it if you did that too. I'll be posting the blog post to go with this in a little while, and that'll have full details of all of the dimensions of use and the supplies and all of that in case you want to replicate them. But until then, thank you again, ladies, and enjoy the rest of your week. See you next week. Bye.